In the name of Allah, the most merciful and beneficent, welcome to a series on sociology of globalization. In today's class, we are going to discuss about globalization and environment. My name is Anwarul Haq and welcome to Social Wisdom. Most of the contents of this slide or these lectures are derived from George Ritzer's book on globalization. The credit for all the information in this slide goes to George Ritzer's book on globalization. The link to the book is given in the description. So basically, if we talk about globalization and environment, before talking about the relationship, we need to know what is environment. Before moving to environment and globalization, environment in familiar terms refer to all those things that exist in our natural surroundings. In simple words, everything that exists around us has become part of our environment. Everything that exists around us is our environment. This is a basic and simple definition of environment. What is not us becomes our environment. It includes our living space, it includes our atmosphere, it includes the soil, the water resources, it includes the furniture, it includes the pets we have, and it includes the trees and other greenery that we have around us. So everything that is not us and surrounds us in some way becomes our environment. The technical definition of environment is the physical and biological factors along with their chemical interactions that affect an organism or a group of organisms. Here S is missing, but a group of organism. Okay. Basically, the environment is physical and biological factors that exist around us and have interaction with us. Here we are talking about individual, but at societal level we all have interaction with our environments. Most of the time we are living in the same types of environment. Mostly the humans are living in similar types of environment around the globe. And this is what definition of globalization this will follow. Globalization in simple words is emergence of similar patterns of living around the globe. uh, Globalization is basically the flow of technology, people, and values around the globe. But if we want to understand the globalization in a better way, we can say globalization is emergence of similar living patterns around the globe. Around the globe, people are living in similar ways. People are using similar technologies, like in any household around the globe, which is a middle class household, you can find similar type of technologies. And people's thinking and ideas are also changing and becoming similar at certain level. So this uh, this refers to what we call globalization in sociology. And now, emergence of global trends, emergence of global similarities have an effect on our environment. And environment is one topic which is truly global in the sense. How it is global? Because environment does not care about two things. One, it does not care about the nation states, and second, it does not care about the societies. Environment does not care about nation state. This statement is very valid, especially for the environment, because smoke uh, is one of the issues in environment these days. Smoke does not care about the borders. Smoke in India can cause smoke in Pakistan, and it does not care about the borders of Pakistan, India, Iran, Afghanistan. These borders do not matter for the environment. The borders matter for human beings, but for atmosphere, we are living in same atmospheric conditions. So environment is one, not dependent on the societies, and second, it does not depend on the nation states. So when we say this, then we can say that environment or environmental challenges are of global nature. Environmental challenges are of global nature. And let's move to the next slide, where we'll discuss this issue in detail, that environment is truly global in nature. One, liquidity of environment. The environmental flows are very fast. It crosses border without visa. Environment and globalization are intertwined and interlinked. An environment can be studied in two ways. Uh, when we talk about globalization and environment, there are two ways in which we'll study. One is negative consequences of environment, impacts of globalization, and especially the negative consequences or negative impacts of globalization on environment, and then the global debates along the environment. First, we'll discuss the negative consequences side of the globalization. Neoliberal economy and free trade. We are living in a world where our economies are neoliberal primarily, and free trade is the basic fundamental of the economy uh, in most of the societies. Free trade and neoliberal economy is fundamental of economy in most of the societies, and there are global inequalities and global differences. Actually, the concept here, which the whole slide is trying to convey, is that economic development leads to environmental degradation. There are problems in economy, and these problems, when economic development is happening, lead to the problems of environment. In simple words, the development is interlinked with the environmental problems. Most of the time we have to burn the energy, we have to burn the resources, we have to acquire the land, we have to clear the uh, grasslands and forests to acquire the land, and to use the mineral resources, to use the fossil fuels, and to use the energy for the development. And this actually leads to global inequalities and also to the global environmental challenges. Ecological modernization theory offers another view, such as sustainable development. And now, certain things that are being done to protect the environment within the economy as well. There is a sense in the economics and in the trade sector, both in the theory and in the practice. In theory as well as in practice, there is a sense that ecological modernization should be there. We should modernize, keeping in view the ecology in check. Environmental resources should not be used in such a way that they will not remain for the our coming generations. A sustainable development model. And especially about the economics, there are differences among the nation states. Some nation states are relatively poor and others are relatively good. And then the poorer nations claim that they should be allowed to burn the fossil fuels, etc. These are the challenges due to economy and trade for the environment. Then, as per the George Ritzer's book, there is a book by Jared Diamond which is called Collapse. Collapse discusses the societal collapse and environmental factors. How societal collapse will follow the environmental factors, human activity and environment restoration. And then there is a concept of global collapse. In simple words, the crux of the whole slide is that a society's survival depends upon the using or usage of the environmental resources. If a society exploits the environmental resources too much, then it will lead to the collapse. Then we have natural habitat destruction. The impacts, here we are starting the impacts of globalization on environment. Globalization of trade, goods, people, technology has left many negative impacts on environment, and first impact is natural habitat destruction. Destruction of habitat or conversion into human habitat. As the global population of humans is increasing, so humans are taking away the habitats of different animals, and this leads to destruction of habitat or conversion into human habitat. Then there is deforestation, Amazon rainforest, and global deforestation is also happening. Coral reef and wetland destruction, this is happening due to fossil fuels, due to the addition of pollution from industries and different wastes to the seas and oceans. Decline in fish population, that is also happening. I have seen the trawlers, and if you have seen how they catch the fish using drift nets and bottom trawling, you will have tears in your eyes if you see the fish, how the fish are being caught. And I have seen such videos, and a person feels that how many very small, even a fish that is hatched just out of the egg, such fishes are caught, and 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 they are sent for the human food. So there is 69% of fishing sites which are fully exploited or overexploited. And bottom trawling and bycatch, these are big challenges. Like when they use the bottom trawling technique, they catch the fishes from the bottom of the sea. And now there are certain animals which live at the bottom. Those animals are dying because they are bycatch, they are not useful for human food or any other purposes, so they are just left out, or they are not make sure, it is not make sure that they are being sent again to their proper place. So this leads to, like for example, there was an example in the book of sea cucumbers. Sea cucumbers are not eaten by humans in that way which we eat the fish. So this bycatch leads to uh, is a serious threat to the population of sea cucumbers. And then we have decline in fresh water. Due to global population increase, the water and water pollution, population increase and water pollution are leading to scarcity of water. And due to global warming, there is flooding also happening. We'll discuss that later in the global warming section. Due to global warming, there is flooding. There is water and water everywhere, but there is no water for drinking purposes. So water pollution and scarcity of water has become a serious challenge around the globe. Uh, Complete stop of flow of water at some places, and sanitation, 2.6 billion people lack access to proper sanitation around the globe according to the George Itzer's book. And water supply and risk, there is risk factors are involved in water supply schemes and water supply. Almost every big city in the world has a challenge of water supply and scarcity of water. So the water levels are decreasing, which is a concern because only 3% of water, as we know, is drinkable, and 2% of that is also, it is also said that it is in the form of glaciers. So we only have 1% of water that is suitable for drinking. and we should be careful about the drinking water, and this is a global challenge. Global pressure on freshwater ecosystems. Freshwater ecosystems are rivers. In simple words, rivers and lakes, and primarily the rivers. Freshwater ecosystems are being challenged, one because there is fishing in them, and second there is addition of pollution. Polluted materials from industries, from agriculture are being constantly thrown in the rivers, and at some in some developed world the situation is better, but in developing countries, without any treatment, that waste is being thrown into the freshwater ecosystems, and that is a challenge for people who are living near the freshwater ecosystems also, and for the environment as a whole as well. Then desertification is happening. Virtual water or bottled water is becoming common. Water level is decreasing, and the number of climate refugees are increasing. The number of climate refugees around the globe, which are climate refugees because of water, is increasing. Melting of glaciers is another issue which we'll discuss later in the global warming as well. Toxic chemicals. Industries release toxic chemicals. This is not new information actually, but around the globe, as the development is increasing, industries are also increasing, and these industries are releasing toxic chemicals into air, soil, and water bodies. Persistent organic pollutants, there is organic pollutants are also being released, and the number is increasing. Then there are polychlorinated biphenyls as coolants. These are industrial coolants which are used in industry and are not are harmful for the uh, water bodies and soil. Then insecticides, we are all familiar with the insecticide, pesticides, such things which are being used in yeah, which are being used in agriculture, and globally the usage of insecticides is increasing, and this increase is leading to the environmental challenges as well. Then there is half-life, bioaccumulation, and food chains of chemicals. Half-life is how much a chemical reduces due to natural radioactivity, how much a chemical reduces its radioactivity due to radioactivity. And we have half-lives, like first, if element starts to decay, it will reduce to half, and then half, and then half. And elements which have a higher half-lives, especially the nuclear waste and other such wastes, that are being added to the freshwater ecosystems, and even to the in and even to the sites within the soil. This is leading to a serious problem of radioactivity and many other things around the globe. And bioaccumulation and food chain, uh, elements become part of the food. When we grow food in a environment that is not safe, especially with insecticides, with nuclear waste, and with toxic chemicals, that chemicals become part of the food of for example, in the vegetables and in the crops. That is called bioaccumulation, and this problem then further leads to the food chains. As we have example of as we have example of vultures dying around the Indian region. Vultures were dying in India, Pakistan, and other regions, and this problem was started because of the cows, the dead cows, and dead cows were dead because of they have eaten the insecticides insecticide rich food and food with toxic chemicals. That food made the cow, and the cows were eaten by dead cows were eaten by the vultures, and vultures started to die. So this process is happening in the food chain, which is very dangerous for the environment, for the human beings, and for the survival of the societies as well. So toxic chemicals is a bigger challenge. The most obvious and most talked about challenge in globalization is global warming. Global warming is man-made. We all are agreed. And here the word should not be man-made, it should be human-made, because we are all contributing to it. Carbon dioxide and refrigerant coolant gases, global glacier melting and land mass. Globally, the glaciers are melting and the land mass, uh, the seas are rising. There is a 3 feet rise in sea. If there would be 3 feet rise in sea levels, it can cause 60 million people to become refugee. 60 million people will become refugee if there is only 3 feet rise in the seas. And there are challenges, especially we usually discuss the Maldives case. Maldives will be below sea level and will completely vanish in the sea if the sea keeps on rising at this level. Then there are deaths because of heat waves. Global warming is evident in the form of heat waves. There are heat waves, and in a few years back there was a heat wave in Europe, and there were heat waves in such cities where in previous years or in past such levels of heat was not thinkable. So this is a serious challenge in this domain. Then diseases are being caused by global warming. Global warming leads to certain diseases as well. Global overpopulation. One of the challenges is global overpopulation, which is related to environment. Global consumption of goods and services, inequality in consumption. Then there is a concept of American dream and ecology, and then there is resource depletion. Globally, our population has three problems. Basically, our population causes three problems. Number one, there is resource depletion. When population increases, more resources are needed to fulfill the problems of that population, to fulfill the basic needs of that population. Then resources deplete. Second, there are ideals of modern society which needs to be checked. People want to buy more, and when we want to buy more, then we have to put ecology under pressure. And third, there is inequality in whole global environment or in global society. There are three basic tiers. One is the developed countries, then is developing countries, and then there are underdeveloped countries. And we can say rich countries, mediocre countries, and poor countries. So there is global inequality in consumption, and everybody thinks that if a person has certain resources or a family has certain resources in a particular country, then why not I? And this dream or this ideal of capitalism leads to idea that I should earn more and I should have resources and should attain the life standard that other person is living, which leads to more and more resource depletion. And we are living in an environment where consumption led economy is being there. So there is a serious need to put check and balance on consumption based economy as well. Then there is a challenge of dangerous solid waste. Flow of solid waste, electronic waste, tires, batteries, e-waste, cell phone has 200 different chemicals which needs to be dumped. And the global dangerous solid waste is being dumped in developing world. Most of the time we are not aware, but you can see at the shores of Karachi and even in India you can see that uh, uh, solid waste is being dumped, and people are getting gold and other chemicals out of the solid waste by burning the plastic waste. And when we burn the plastic waste, it causes severe problems for the environment and for the person's health as well. Then there is nuclear waste and radioactivity, that is also a big challenge. Then there are fears of attacks on environment due to bioterrorism, biosecurity, bioethics, genetic engineering, and HARP. Actually, these are the a few of the headlines in the domain of bioterrorism. But if we'll talk about biosecurity, bioethics, and genetic engineering, these ideas are changing the atmosphere in the realm of bioterrorism, especially when we are living in the age of pandemic. We need to know that there are biosecurity levels and biosecurity labs, BSL level 1, 2, 3. These things exist globally. But who will maintain the ethics? But who will maintain the bioethics? Bioethics is a challenge. And in the age of genetic engineering, when we can shape or reshape the viruses and we can attack other countries using genetically engineered or genetically modified viruses, bacteria, and crops as well. So the challenges of bioterrorism also exist globally, and these challenges need to be addressed globally, because bioethics of one country, or if bioethics of one country are compromised, and if biosecurity of one country is compromised, that challenge will not remain in one country, and this is proven by the corona pandemic as well. We have discussed the certain impacts that environment has on globalization. Globalization and environment are globalization's impacts on environment. We have discussed that in briefly. We have discussed some of the brief impacts. Now we are moving to the debates in environmental globalization. Spread of global awareness forums. There is need to spread of global awareness forums, such as we have IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and then we have IUCN, there is another platform for conservation of nature. Then we have WWF, like NGOs, Worldwide Fund. Then we have World Economic Forum, which also addresses the issues of environment. Then we should have a global response to the environmental destruction. Sustainable development and development of alternate technologies. The current technologies that we are using uses fossil fuels, emits carbon dioxide, and uses carbon in any other form, and insecticides, pollutants, toxic chemical waste. These need to be replaced with the green technologies or environment friendly technologies. So we should have a sustainable development models, and we should have alternate technologies for it. Uh, we'll end our lecture here because it is getting the video is getting a lot bigger. Uh, Later we'll discuss the sustainable development model and other models. Uh, Later we'll discuss these models in detail. As the size of video is getting bigger, so I'll make this video in two parts, as we have only 30 minutes limit in that sense. So I am leaving these parts. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this lecture, share, subscribe, and to enjoy more videos, please subscribe to this channel. And I hope you will find this lecture useful. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, you are most welcome. Please share them in the comments. And that's it from my side. We'll discuss the other remaining parts of the slides in next phase of the class. Thank you so much.